Welcome back to Holy Banter. Today we're going to talk with Justin Clark. He is our friend, one of our newest parishioners here at St. Alphonsus.
A new Catholic.
New Catholic. It's going to be an explosive discussion.
He was also one of our witnesses at the revival.
If you came to the third night of the parish revival, you got to listen to his story, but now we're going to dive in a little deeper.
Yeah. So welcome, Justin.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you came into the church a little over a year ago.
Yeah, it was me and my 3 daughters and my wife. That was quite the experience.
Yeah, it was so cute. And your oldest,
Betty.
Betty, was so cute when she got baptized. She kept going around yelling, I was baptized.
She has to get baptized again. She was so happy.
She was baptized in the little pool.
No, but they did it over the font.
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had her stand on the stool and just bend her head over. I mean, she was a little nervous when we told her about it, but then she had a great time. Apparently, that's like the highlight of her year. So,
And they have the happiest kids you'll ever meet.
Is that right? What makes them so happy?
well, my third is by far the best. I mean, my goodness, she hardly ever cried up until maybe 2 months ago, and she's 11 months now. And I mean, she would go down like super easy. It's almost like I couldn't believe it. It's like there's something coming, right? Like she's gonna have to do something.
Waiting for the storm.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like she's just super calm, super chill, and like has never ever given us an issue.
I say I've seen you guys in church front pew and everything is handled.
Now, remind me how old you and your wife are.
I am 23 and my wife is 24.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to be so surprised at this, but as we continue to talk and listen to you share your story, I think the age just can't help but kind of be a bigger deal because I think that you have wiser thoughts in you than most people at 23.
Yes.
And taking a step back, if you're comfortable, your kids' names and their ages too.
Betty is 4 and she'll be 5 this year. And then my middle child, Bonnie, she just turned 3. And then, like I said, Rosalie, my youngest, will be 1 in July.
And then your wife's expecting a 4th.
Yeah, a little boy in September. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
How's mama feeling?
Terrible. Well, better than first trimester, but with work picking up and all that, I mean, we just are running into the ground right now.
So she's a realtor.
Yes. Yeah. She got her license a few years ago, and I kept working for a while to support her while she was building her clientele base. And it just recently got to the point where I had to leave my job and support her and help her with her business. And it's been lovely being able to spend the time with my family more.
But you're also going to school.
I am. And it's been amazing until now. Now I'm in accounting.
So you were working here at St. Al.
I was, yes.
And you quit. You left here to go.
So
what a gift that you can be home and help.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no way that she could do everything that we're doing without the help that we have now. I mean,
right.
Well, just last night, she didn't get home till about 11 o'clock at night. She had 2 showings that were late. So, I mean, I stayed home and put the kids down into my accounting homework. So
Fun.
You guys are going to have quite a story to tell your grown children.
If we can remember it.
Good. So this morning when I saw you walking in and I said, how are you? You were like, busy. So what makes your world today busy?
Well, it's work, a lot of it, because our weeks are like packed to the brim, and every day we wake up and the schedule changes 5 times and new stuff gets added before we even get out the door. And then we got the 3 girls that keep us busy. We try to keep them happy. I got my schoolwork. Then we're trying to maintain our social life and just be ministers of Christ to others. So we don't want to hide our light to say, we want to go out there and let it shine. And then my mother-in-law just the other day, 2 days ago, went on a whim, decided to get an 18-month-old St. Bernard.
Uh-oh.
And asked me for help training it. So,
okay.
Yeah, he's 18 months old.
Trainer.
Yeah, and he's 160 pounds.
He's a puppy?
Yeah. I mean, he's close to full grown, but yeah, he comes up to about my rib cage.
Now, is he going to wear a bucket around his neck?
I mean, he should. I mean, right now, the mop is never put away.
How is he around the girls?
So far, he's been really good. I introduced him to him yesterday, and he's just right now so anxious and nervous that I'm just taking it slow with him. Yeah. But he has a really good temperament so far, and he already listens pretty well. So
Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
Great.
But an hour or 2 a day is what's going to be for a couple months now. Yeah,
Oh my.
yeah.
I think I'd have to turn off my phone for a minute.
I'm close to taking mine and my wife's phone and just chucking them in a lake.
Do you have anything coming up in your guys' life where it's just going to be you guys as a family, some quiet, some kind of introspection before the baby comes along?
Well, we have my wife's birthday this week, so I have put down the law and said we're not doing any appointments that day.
Oh, good. You have to be intentional about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You really have to kind of
yeah,
set the intention that today's a no day.
yeah. I mean, she makes me feel lazy because she's just go, go, go. She's always like, well, I need to do this and I need to do this, and I'm like, how about we breathe for 5 minutes? And she's like, I don't have time for that. I'm like, I'm not trying to say let's stop working altogether, but let's just
Huh.
breathe.
We were just talking about this yesterday about intentionally putting in those times when you do
Yep.
nothing and how I think in our society we feel guilty when we do that, but how much you need it.
Well, when we take that day of our calendar and we literally mark an X
Mhm.
and we kind of write my day or family day, whatever that is, you are setting an intention that has value where God can kind of find his way and you can let the quiet in and you're doing your real vocation, being a dad and being a husband. And we have to be able to let our face drop and, have such high expectations for ourselves.
Yeah, it's those days where I think you can find Christ the most. When you're busy, I mean, your brain is just constantly moving on to the next thing and the next thing, and what do I need to do now? I can't forget this. But when you have that day marked out, you're just sitting there, and eventually you're going to go, maybe I should pray a rosary.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God's day.
You know,
Well, speaking of all of that good stuff, a couple years ago, how long now has it been that you started kind of looking deeper into and questioning where you were in your particular religion at that time, and then started making a pretty big change?
Yeah, it was almost 2 years ago now because I really started looking into it about I want to say it was July or August. Um, of 2023. And that's when I met my parent or my children's godfather and my sponsor, James Stiles. And I just had a good relationship with him. I wanted to have a friendship with him. And part of that was like, well, I need to learn about Catholicism.
well, back it up a little bit
Yeah.
of like, what is your background?
Oh, okay. Well, before that, I was a Baptist. And essentially, I just was always searching for God. I was always trying to find the face of God. But I just found it super difficult because there's just not much to Baptists. I mean, they call it independent fundamentalist Baptist. That's the particular branch I was. And it's in the name. You're independent. You are the church, essentially. I mean, the pastors will preach and say you need to be in church every Sunday, but there's nothing to make you go. It doesn't make you any worse of a Baptist to not go to church. It's all about you. And so then you start thinking about like, well, should I really be doing this behavior? Should I really be doing this or should I do this more? And you decide for yourself and you can be completely wrong. And there's nothing like your pastor can say, well, I don't think you should do that. But then another pastor right down the road would say, that's completely fine. And so I was very upset with the ambiguity and I always had been. I had searched for a long time for something different, but every time I'd look into another denomination, it was always Protestantism. I found it one thing like, well, my beliefs are not any worse than that belief. In fact, I can find more problems in Lutheranism or Methodists than I can in the Baptist belief. Because the Baptist belief, I can resolve almost all the issues because I'm independent. I can just say, oh, well, that's just how it is for me. So I was it's just a very ambiguous time. And that's how I grew up. There was a lot of fire and brimstone, which is common with Baptist preachers. And I still like that to a degree. I like being told, like, in no uncertain terms, that this is wrong. Yeah. I, but I was just missing almost two legs of the stool. I had the scriptures, but I had no magisterium. I had no tradition. And that was that. So I looked around. I played around with Messianic Judaism because kind of my awakening was, maybe the Baptists are wrong when I was a little young kid, and couldn't find solace there. I went back to being a Baptist, and still just super unhappy. And that's when I met James, and I was like, well, I know I'm better than Catholicism. I was like, there ain't no way Catholicism's correct. So I started looking into it to
And
argue
what
with
made you
him.
say that?
Just because my family and Baptists in general are just very anti-Catholic. They will view like a icon of Mother Mary that we have on the wall or a statue, and they will say that's idolatry. It's the golden calf. And then they have priests. Can you believe that they have priests? I mean, like, there's no priests. We're all priests now. It's the priesthood of all believers. And then they keep going, and they're like, they actually think they're eating Christ. That's almost cannibalism. And there's just a million arguments for it, but it's all from a standpoint of ignorance. Because if you read the church fathers and you understand that the church fathers are not these documents that were made up just to support Catholicism, they are a history text. They're no more or no less historical than the Constitution of the United States. And we can verify that. Once you can understand that and you can say, oh, St. Ignatius of Antioch believed in the real presence in the Eucharist? Like, oh my, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so if that's true, then every single denomination that does not hold to the real presence in the Eucharist, that has to be false as well. Okay, so what denominations believe in that? Maybe Lutheranism, some of them, Orthodox, Catholics, some Presbyterians, maybe. Okay, so that narrows that down, and Baptist was not one of those. So then you start looking into it even further, and you go, okay, well, they're writing like this was one church, like they're all connected, and they're all listening to one guy. Like, okay, well, who does that? Catholics. No one else does that. The Orthodox don't do that. They bicker even among their own denominations. So that's when I was really like, okay, this is where I need to be, because I started just going through this and proving to myself almost that nothing else has this. Like, some of them have some of it. Like, Baptists have real respect for the scriptures. That's amazing. But they don't have hardly anything else. Orthodox have the real presence, and they have authority, but they don't have unity. They don't have I guess you could really say they don't have a magisterium. They don't have a way to settle disputes.
You might want to explain what a magisterium is, because not everyone will know what that means.
So the magisterium is just the teaching arm of the church. It's what kind of tells us right and wrong. It's our guiding light.
Pope and the bishops, and yeah, they kind of interpret.
Yeah, I mean, like, whenever we get like, there's been a whole lot of documents released in the past, I want to say 2 years or so, about different blessings and so forth, and those come from the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith, and that is essentially, let me see if I can put it in American terms. It's like we have a bunch of agencies like the FBI and so forth. So they are an agency that, and the president would be the Pope. The Pope has appointed a cardinal to head over this agency, and their only job is to look at matters that affect the doctrines of our faith. And so they will release a document, and if that is approved by the Pope, which it is when it's released, that is binding on our intellect and will to follow this.
Again, they're interpreting doctrine, they're not
Yeah.
changing doctrine.
There are no new doctrines. And that's another thing that Baptists get hung up on a lot. Is they go, oh, well, they changed. It's like, well, no, they've not changed. They're just saying we have this new modern problem. How do we apply what we already know to this? Is birth control really a moral act that we can use just to limit the amount of kids we have? Well, I mean, the birth control methods we've had previously in medieval times, those were immoral. Just because we have a new medication to prevent this doesn't mean it's magically moral.
Yeah, I mean, there was even birth control when the apostles, they write about it in their early documents.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like you said, it's not a new doctrine. It's just it's just applying what we know.
And so when you started kind of flirting with Catholicism, how did your wife react as a fellow Baptist?
Well, she is, to her credit, she's got to be the best wife in the world. I mean, I when I was a Baptist, then I started flirting with, like I said, with Messianic Judaism, and I kind of brought her into that with me. And then I was like, okay, no, we're wrong. Let's go back. And she did. And then I started looking into Catholicism, and I was like, okay, this sounds too right. So maybe I need to take this really slow. So I was like, just so you know, I'm listening to these apologists for Catholicism. You stay away from it. Let me go through this and really figure this out. Yeah, and then I'll let you know what I find. And then when the final nail in the coffin hit, I was like, okay, nope, this is all right. Just start asking questions, because I'll answer them. And she's dove in head first. I mean, she had some reservations, but just some of the apologists on YouTube, I could just pull up a video or go talk to a priest that we know, and just issues like that. That just makes sense.
And when you say that it makes sense or that it was right, did it feel like something in you? Was there like this click of the soul and the mind and you say that it was making sense? Like, what was that? What did that feel like?
I was thinking about this on the way over
Why was
here,
it right?
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I was like, there's so many times where I was like already all in, and then I learned about something else, and I'm like, how can this get even? I can't wrap my mind around this. Like I was already all in, and then they just said something that just rang out into my soul as so true. I was like, I never thought about it that way,
Wow.
and it just kept happening. Like I would learn about baptism, and then they would point to me the scriptures that just plainly say baptism now saves you. And I was like, how was I a Baptist and I didn't know this? I mean, that's where Baptists don't necessarily believe that baptism saves you
Wow.
at all. It's symbolic, but they are. What's really funny and ironic is that they are sticklers that you do it correctly. It has to be in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, but it's just symbolic. And you would ask your pastor, and he'd be like, "Yeah, there's nothing to say that that ever saves you." And you're just like, I read these verses, and I'm like, this is right in front of your face. Like, how did I not see this?
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
You're making me think of, and I wish I could, off the top of my head, know exactly where this is in scripture. I checked it off my phone real quick. Can't find it. But the passage about how we are called or allowed to kind of test what's out there, test it against what we know. And I think it takes a lot of courage to test it, to ask the questions and to push back a little bit. You and I actually talked about this on the phone a few months ago before the revival, but your family who are still of the Baptist faith, what was the response to the choice to move in a different direction?
A lot of them weren't necessarily like they were not jumping for joy, but I was really surprised they hadn't given me such a visceral reaction as I would have honestly expected because they are very anti-Catholic. I mean, I have been in and a part of many conversations just raging against Catholicism, and I haven't heard anything about it. Maybe they're talking behind my back, but that's fine. But they are. I think they're just happy that we are raising our girls in Christianity because so many people these days just don't do that. And I mean, I think they see that we are very traditional as far as family values and so on and so forth. That I think they're just happy that we're trying to raise the kids right.
And you have an uncle that came with you. Now he's not Catholic.
Are you thinking about her father? Well, I know her father comes every Sunday with us.
Oh, that's nice. Maybe it
He
was her father.
yeah,
Okay.
he is a Byzantine Catholic.
Okay.
He-
Yeah, then it must have been him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Byzantine?
Yeah, it's essentially Greek Orthodox, but they are in communion with the Catholic Church.
Yeah, so there's a Byzantine church in Indianapolis that you can go to
Okay.
that still is in line. It's a part of the Catholic Church. It's just kind of they have some very traditional ways of doing liturgy, and the communion is very different. Like it's given to you on a spoon, and
Leavened bread.
bed.
But it's Greek Orthodox?
Essentially, after the 1054 split, some of the Greek Orthodox faithful and clergy were like, let's go back. I want to be back in communion with Rome. And so they did. And Rome's like, yeah, that's fine. Keep your traditions. Just, you just got to be in line with our dogmas, like our core tenets of faith. And once they agreed to that, yeah, they are full Catholic. We can go over there and receive communion. They can come over here and receive communion.
So was after, well, you probably know more than I do about the history, but
I mean, I feel like we could just ask Justin.
Justin would come to me and start talking about stuff, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I just had a lot of time on my hands.
It sounds like it.
It's to learn and study. So
Yeah.
I mean,
So, and you're interested, obviously, you have to be interested to soak up this much knowledge.
I mean, these traditions just developed as part of the culture in that area. And it's all the same faith, it's all the same church. And it's really beautiful to go there and see.
Yeah, I'd like to go sometime.
Me too.
Yeah.
For sure.
In fact, there's over in Pennsylvania, they have a Byzantine, I guess, festival almost. It's at a event. And they just have a bunch of the bishops are in that surrounding area that are Byzantine, and even a few of the Roman bishops come. Yeah, and they just have they have mass. As soon as I started looking into Catholicism, I think it was right after I joined RCIA. My father-in-law invited us to go, and so we were like, yeah, let's go, and it was really cool to see. I mean, you kind of walk around, and you're like, what is all this?
Really?
Yeah.
Is it a little like overwhelming, just kind of unique to see?
Especially since I was maybe 3 months into learning about Catholicism.
To go from the Baptist to
Yeah.
that, you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, and another thing is they don't really kneel in their liturgy.
Okay.
In the East, the sign of respect instead of being on your knees is standing, and so you get really tired.
Okay.
Oh.
So the Holy Spirit just nudged me a little. Would you ever be a liturgical reader here at St. Al's? I feel like you have a great speaking voice.
I've thought about it, but I've thought about becoming a deacon and then maybe getting involved in mass. But
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
yeah, I think really the biggest hang up is, are we going to remain here in, St. Alphonsus area, or are we going to move out of state at some point? And so
That's kind of like in
yeah,
the
because I will have to take, if I do become a deacon, I will have to take vows of obedience to our bishop. And if I wanted to move out of state, I would have to obtain permission from both my bishop and then the bishop of whose diocese I'd be going to.
Mhm.
so you dug into this as well.
Yeah, ecclesiology and is really fascinating, and how the inner workings of the church actually operates.
Well, and the other thing is, if you become a deacon and your wife passes away, you can't get remarried.
Not a problem. Not a problem. I love my wife, and I don't want anybody else.
That's too, but to be 23 and say
Oh
that,
my gosh, all of a sudden this has turned into a love story. That's wonderful. That's
well,
so
everything
wonderful.
with God is a love story.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So cool.
yeah. She's God really put her in my life, and
Mm.
I mean, it was just kind of magnets.
And you guys got married when you were 19, right?
She was 19, I was 18.
That's just amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, my wife likes to tease me because our first daughter was born when I was 19, so I was a teen dad type.
My son's 19 and I can't get him to come out of his room. I can't imagine being a father.
Yeah, he's
That's
not
crazy.
ready for that commitment yet.
I was moved out, and I was about an hour away from any of my family.
Where are you guys from?
I'm from Westfield. I moved there from Lawrence right at the beginning of middle school, and she's from Sheridan. And then once we got married and we found out, okay, she's pregnant, we decided to move down to Avon because I took a job down there with the Hendricks County government, and it didn't work out. It was not very happy. I was, too far away from everybody, not enough support down there, and the job was just really stressful. So we decided to move back up out into the country now.
Yeah, say, didn't you miss being in the country too?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's lovely out there.
Where are you?
I am in the middle of nowhere, Boone County, in the northeastern corner.
Sweet.
We might catch up with you at some point.
Yeah, it does. Our nearest town's Sheridan, but they're across the county line.
Okay.
And there's a big development going in just maybe 2 miles down the road or so. Maybe
Is that the one off 32? Near 35, 421?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a few miles away from us, but it's getting there.
I know we've been a little sad because 7 years ago we moved here. There's a lot more fields than there are now, but
Yeah.
I know that's part of
Yeah. Yeah.
growing.
And the prices are getting wild. I mean, I think right around our area, it's about $33,000 an acre for land.
Holy cow.
I got that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and that's just the bare land, no hookups, no septic, nothing. You build everything on it that's on there. So I mean, it's wild.
So what advice would you give someone who because I think you guys did conversion well. Like what was kind of key for you through the RSA process and beyond of really feeling firm in your faith? And
A big part of it is community, is go to those church events, meet people, talk with people, share stories, and that is going to really keep you in the faith. I mean, a lot of people like to church hop, and that's fine to an extent, especially within Catholicism, but you really need a community because those are the people that are going to support you. I mean, when there's plenty of moms here at this parish that whenever one of them gives birth, they have a meal train organized same day. Yeah. Immediately. They have a website and everything. They all sign up and they're like, oh, I'm bringing this. And
Take a lot of
it's lovely. It really is. I mean, we've participated in that because it builds relationships and it's fantastic. You need that support. But then personally, as on an individual level, you need to just have time to research your faith. I mean, if you're a reader, okay, let's go through the Bible. You got Father Mike Schmitz to help you. And if you're not much of a reader, there are so many apologists and good ones on social media and YouTube, and you can just put on a video and learn about something you had no idea about. Let's just learn something. If you want to learn something a day, let's do that. More, great. Less, okay, once a week, once a month. Let's just learn. That's what's going to make you more on fire for your faith.
how has prayer changed for you, or has it?
It's incredibly. I mean, you might, as a Baptist, pray to God the Father and then end it with in Jesus' name. That's about it. That's prayer. But with Catholicism, it was the first time I had ever done this, and I don't know why it never occurred to me beforehand. But I prayed to the Holy Spirit. I was like, we can do this. Okay. And then with all the angels and saints that are available to listen to you and present your prayers to the Almighty Father, I just have so many more prayer warriors than I thought I had.
That's cool.
That is so great. Did we go into the details about your ride along with Officer James?
Not here.
Because I think that's kind of like
That's
like a story inside the story.
yeah, and just kind of why that was so
Mhm.
How kind of you mentioned at the revival when we were talking about mission in your life, that
Mm.
that was a great example.
Yeah. So I was looking into becoming a police officer because almost half of my family at this point are in law enforcement. And I was interviewing departments to see where I would like to apply. And I went to Zionsville and got a ride along. And they're like, "Do you want to ride with anybody?" No, whoever. It's fine. I'll do nights because if you're going to get on a police department, I have news for you. You're going to be on nights, at least for the first year, two, maybe three.
Okay.
So I was like, I want to see who I'd be working with and how it is.
Interaction too.
Yeah, definitely. So I showed up and got in the car, and he's, "Hey, my name is Officer Styles. Nice to meet you." I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And we were just talking throughout
Right.
the night
Officer Styles is a parishioner.
here. Yeah, great guy, and I was just
Yeah.
like, this man is a nice guy, really cool. He gave me his one of his phone numbers, and couple months later, I was like, I want to go on another ride along. I was like, can I go with you? That was fun. And I get in there and we keep talking. I'm like, man, this guy, we just get along. I'm a not very peoply person, so when I find someone that I click with, it's like we're friends now. Like, so I was like, I went home that night and I'm like, I need to save this man from the evils of Catholicism. And so I kept looking into it, and and I was like, I'm wrong. And I messaged him and I was like, can I come to church with you?
No.
Yeah. And he was just like floored because I hadn't talked to him about it. I was just it just out of the blue. I was like, I want to go be Catholic, and he's like, where'd this come from?
Look at you.
And I mean, there was at one point when I was looking into all this, I decided to take it slow because I had gotten it wrong in conversion before. And so I was talking with my mother and friends and family, and it was just like, I have questions. Can you give me answers? And one day I met with a friend of mine at a restaurant, and I was just so unsatisfied
Mm.
with his responses that
Yeah.
as soon as we were like, okay, yeah, I'll see you later, I got in the car and I drove to St. Maria Goretti Catholic Church. And it was a Saturday, and it was just the middle of the day, so there was no masses or anything. And I pull up and I was like, I see this man walking, and I'm like, do you know where a priest is? He's like, I'm a priest. And I was like, okay. And there's one in confession. I'm like, oh well, I'm not Catholic, but I'm hurting and I need help. Like I have questions and I need answers. And that was Father Kevin Haynes, and he's going to be the godfather for our son. He's a great priest, but he wasn't supposed to be there. He said, like, we set up a time to meet, and he's like, I wasn't supposed to be there. I had come back to the church to grab some ice. I was actually not even on campus. And you just pulled up right at the time where I was walking out back to my car. So I met with him again, I want to say it was about a week later, and I came with a notebook filled with questions.
Yep.
Yeah. And I sat there and I went down each and every question. And I was like, how do you explain this? How do you explain this? Can you prove to me that the church has authority? And he answered them very, very kindly, very patiently. And after I left there, that's when I was like, I don't have any more holdups. I just have more to learn. So
Aw, that's amazing. Gave me chills.
You were absolutely being pulled by God.
dragged.
You were. I mean, he was fighting for your soul.
But in your openness, because I think a lot of people have these feelings, but they ignore them or
1,000%.
discount them. You know.
Yeah, and not to put any people down because
Oh,
maybe it's not our time, but how receptive and open
Mhm.
you were
yeah.
to this at such kind of a young age.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Every time the first that came to mind to me, probably more than any other when I was a Protestant, was being blown around by every wind of doctrine. And that's just how I felt as a Protestant at all times. I mean, there were times where I wasn't the best Baptist, just kind of not thinking about God much at all. And I felt rooted in my faith because I wasn't thinking about it. But then when I would get into it and I would start feeling uneasy about like some of this doesn't seem right, it's not adding up, then I just feel like a leaf blowing in the wind. Like I'm just kind of being tossed around. I don't know where I'm landing. But then when found Catholicism, it's like the sword in the stone. I'm just not moving. I mean, there's just too much proof. I mean, you're going to have to go back and disprove history events to do that.
It's funny because a lot of converts I talk to will say once you become a student of Christian history, you're going to convert to Catholicism because it's hard to deny
Yeah.
when you read the church fathers.
And I mean, you also have, I believe it was James 2:24. I might be wrong, but that speaks about how you see how by works a man is justified and not by faith only. And that's the only place in the Bible the words faith and only are put together. And it's against sola fide, faith alone. And so reading those verses, that I was like, okay, well, it can't be any denomination that believes in faith alone. It's just kept blowing my mind left and right.
What is the message then about to Catholics who might struggle with what is evangelization? How do I evangelize? I mean, what with your experience from James, like what message do you have about that?
Part of it is how you present yourself to others. Not saying that you have to be, like a denim skirt wearing bonnet person. Like if that's what you want to be, that's amazing. But you can still be, I guess, quote unquote, a normal person. But no matter how normal you are, if you're following the faith, you're going to be a little different. And people can tell. I could tell. I could tell. I mean, like James, just like I could just tell that he had something about him that was more, I guess, rooted, more thoughtful, more spiritual than I had. And so part of it is just, acting in accordance with the Bible and the faith. And then the other part of it is if you can just find one thing in Catholicism that you find super interesting and just nerd out on, do that. That's amazing. And then go back to community. You're going to find someone else that's nerding out about something completely different. Yeah. And then when people come to you and you're like, okay, well, I can tell you about church history, but I can't tell you about how the bishops work. Okay. But I know someone who does. So let's go ask him. He's right over there. I can see him. So just find something that you can love to learn about. To me, it's kind of a bit of everything, but.
And you also articulate so well about accompaniment and how James accompanied you. I mean, and you talked at the revival about how we just have to have a relationship with people. You can speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, relationships are just one of the largest things about the faith that keeps you here. And James, he told me after the vigil, he was like talking to my father-in-law, and he said that his journey of conversion made me a better Catholic. And I was like, well, what do you mean about, what are you talking about? You're my sponsor. And he goes, well, no, you just kept learning things so fast that I couldn't keep up. Right. I had to study up on the faith so that way I could answer questions. Yeah. And so I think a willingness to learn when you don't know and say that you don't know, but like, I'll get the answers for you for anybody. That's one of the most important things about helping those that are wanting conversion or needing conversion. Mm-hmm. And by the way, conversion is something that we all need every single day. And unless you have made it to the finish line and you are a saint, you need conversion because we're not perfect yet, but we should be trying every day. But accompaniment, I mean, that's one of the most beautiful things that I can see in the church that is just absent everywhere else, is that you don't do anything alone in the church. I mean, more often than not, the priests don't even vest alone when they're preparing for mass. And you always have a companion there to help you when you are failing. When you fall short, there's someone there to help pick you back up. And it goes back to like I said, you might know something but are falling short in knowledges of ecclesiology, but this person might be falling short in knowledge of church history. And so then you guys make up together. And the Bible says that iron sharpens iron. So you got to find another pair of irons for yourself.
Two stand back to back can conquer.
Yes.
Like one of my favorites.
Which one?
Two can stand back to back and conquer. I want to say it's Ecclesiastes.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I always love talking to you, Justin. You're just so
intelligent.
Yeah, well, of course.
I mean, it's just, and to think like what you have in front of you, what you have ahead of you, how much more life you have and how far you can go with the knowledge. I mean, you're going to college, got your dad, you're going to learn about your kids, all these, with all their experiences, but how you are going to continue to dig into the faith and your religion. I mean, it's kind of like the world is at your fingertips right now.
Yeah, I like staying in the country though.
That's okay. You don't have to leave the country.
Yeah, very peaceful out there. I'll come to church every Sunday though.
So what's on the docket for you today?
Let's see. My wife has already been up at 6 a.m. to go and take care of a house that we're preparing for listing. So I was able to sleep in just a little bit and then take care of the kids while she was away. Then I came here for this, and to be honest with you, I don't know. Probably something.
There is something.
Yeah, you know what it is? Actually, she does have to go somewhere this evening for another showing. I have the kids. I have class tonight, and I have a friend that I'm trying to hang out with at some point. Mm-hmm. New friend.
Wonderful. And Isabella's birthday is when?
June 13th.
June 13th. Friday. So happy birthday, Miss Isabella. And we hope you feel good. We hope you feel good with your baby.
Yes, she's just so tired. I'm forcing her to rest. Oh, but she's fighting me on it. It's the most confusing time of my life right now. So.
You hang in there, son.
I appreciate it.
If you would like to hear more holy banter, please check out our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast.